Okay, this is taken from Eureka Lesson 1, and it's a chart here where they ask several of these problems. So let's do a few of these. First one, 20 over 100 as a percent. First question we ask ourselves is, are we allowed to use the percent symbol? The percent symbol is like so. The answer is yes, because the numerator is over 100. So 20 over 100 is the same thing as 20%. You can only use this symbol with the numerator if you have 100 in the denominator. Okay, let's go right next door. 9 over 10 is a percent. We cannot say that that is 9%. We are not allowed to say that because if you have 9 over 10, we do not have 100 in the denominator. So this does not equal 9%. Does not. Okay? We have to get this fraction with 100 in the denominator. Okay, how do we do that? All right, let's rewrite this. Originally, they want 9 over 10 as a percent. Okay, what we do is we take the fraction and we set it equal to x over 100. So whatever this x becomes, we know it's a percent. How do we know that? Because it's being divided by 100. Okay, so how do we solve for x in this scenario? The answer is we have two fractions facing each other with an equal sign between them. Whenever you have two fractions facing each other with an equal sign in between them, that is a license to cross multiply. The first thing we do, let me write that down, cross multiply. Okay, the first thing we do when we cross multiply is we put the equal sign down. The next thing we do is we take this and we multiply it by that. So 10 times x. Then we take this and we multiply it by this. So we have 100 times 9. Now we solve for x. So we have 10x equals 900. We divide both sides by 10 in an effort to isolate x by itself. 900 over 10, we're allowed to cross off these two zeros. Our answer is x equals 90. Okay, now we come back up here and we look at our original setup. What we had here is that 9 over 10 equals x over 100. So let me rewrite that. 9 over 10 equals x over 100. We solve for x. So now we have 9 over 10 equals 90 over 100. We basically substituted 90 for x. Now are we allowed to use the percent sign? Answer is yes, because we're dividing by 100. Therefore, our final answer is 90%. 90% is the same thing as 90 over 100. Not 90 over 10, which is where we started. Not 9 over 10, which is what we started, but 90 over 100. 90 over 100. Okay, let's do the next one. 40 over 100 as a percent. Here we go. We already have 100 in the denominator. Therefore, we can say that this is 40% right from the get-go. Don't need to do anything. The percent sign means dividing by 100. So 40% is the same exact thing as 40 over 100. Nothing to do there. Now let's go over here. 9 over 20 as a percent. Are we dividing by 100? The answer is no. Therefore, we can't write 9 over 20 as 9%. We have to convert this to 100 in the denominator. How do we convert 9 over 20 into something with 100 over the denominator? The answer is we set this up like so. We figure out what x is. Once we have x over 100, then we can get our percent. We have two fractions separated with an equal sign. We are going to cross multiply. First step in cross multiplication is don't forget your equal sign. Then we're going to take the 20 and multiply it by x. And we're going to take the 100 and multiply it by 9. We're going to get 20x equals 900. We're going to divide both sides by 20. To make our math easier, these zeros are going to cancel out. 90 over 2 equals 45. Now we know that our original fraction was 9 over 20. We set that to x over 100. We solve for x, that it's 45. So now we can replace the x with 45 over 100. That is 45%. Percent is the same thing as dividing by 100. Let's do another one. All of these on this left side column, as long as 100's in the denominator, you can use the numerator as a percent. So here we go. 20 over 100, have 100 in the denominator, 20%. 40 over 100, 40%. 80 over 100, 80%. 85%, 95%, 100%. Whoa, this is not 10%. Why? Because you don't have you don't have 100 in the denominator. So what is 10 over 10 as a percent? 10 over 10? Well, we have to get 100 in the denominator. We need to find x that makes that fraction equal to something over 100. What is that something? We have two fractions facing each other with an equal sign in between. Whenever we have that scenario, we cross multiply. First step in cross multiplication is to write the equal sign down. Next step, let's change the colors. Next step, we take this and we multiply it by that, 10x. Step 2, take this and multiply it by that. Okay, now we simplify. We have 10x equals 1,000. How did I get 1,000 here? I'm multiplying by 10, therefore I add a 0 to the original number, which was 100, and I get 1,000. Now, to solve for x, we divide by 10, and x equals 100. So if we go back to our original problem, they want to know 10 over 10 is what percent? 10 over 10 equals x over 100. X turned out to be 100. Therefore, 10 over 10 equals 100 over 100, and this is 100%. Let's do another one. One-tenth as a percent. Okay, 1/10 as a percent. We do not have 100 in the denominator. We need to get 100 in the denominator. How do we do that? We set this equal to x over 100, and we solve for x. We have two fractions facing each other with a equal sign in between. That means we are allowed to cross multiply. First step when we cross multiply is we write the equal sign down. Next step is we cross multiply as the name suggests. We take this and we multiply by that. That's 10 times x. Then we take this and we multiply by that. That's 100 times 1. Now we solve for x. To do that, we divide both sides by 10 so that we get x by itself. Now we have x equals to 100 divided by 10. We cross these zeros out and we get x equals 10. Okay. Now we go back. We say to ourselves, okay, 1 over 10 equals x over 100. We just figured out that x equals 10. We have 10 over 100. Now we could say this is 10%. Why can we say that? Because 100's in the denominator. If 100 is in the denominator, then whatever's in the numerator can be followed by the percent sign.